Well, the pandemic hasn't been easy on anyone, but moms have carried quite a load. A new study shows while parenting hours have intensified for both mom and dad, mothers have taken on more of the burden, clocking hours equivalent to 2 full-time jobs.
This overload has also led to a number of women quitting their jobs to hold down the fort at home. Here with some coping strategies is worry management expert Denise Marek. Good to see you again, Denise. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you both, too.
All right. Instead of a do's and don'ts list, you have a release and accept list. Let's begin with what we should release. And first is guilt. And Denise, as you and I know, guilt is such a burden for moms. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm not sure dads feel guilt the way we do, the way moms do. So how do we go about releasing it?
Well, right now, especially during the pandemic, as Jeff just said, we've taken on so many hours looking after our children. And not only is there so much to do, there's also a lot of decisions to be made, such as online school versus actually attending school. And we've got all of this burden. And if we feel as though we've made the wrong decision, or even if we feel as though we're not doing enough, we can feel guilty. And it reminds me of a time when my daughter was 8 years old. I'd asked her to pack her school bag. Reasonable request, but she didn't like it. And she said, "Mom, why do I always have to pack my own bag? All the other kids' moms always pack their kids' bags." And in that moment, I felt the guilt. But there are ways, even in this pandemic, that you can move from feeling guilty to guilt-free. And one way is to catch and replace those all or nothing words like always, everyone, everyone's mom. These words are seldom accurate and they trigger guilt. So replace those with some mums, sometimes. Another way is to ask yourself, am I doing the best I can? That's all you can expect from yourself. Do your best and forget the rest. And the third one is to ask yourself, is what I'm doing appropriate in this situation? Is it appropriate for you to ask your child to help with chores or age-appropriate meal prep? Of course it is. In fact, it's more than appropriate. You're actually teaching them about responsibility and contributing to the family.
Okay, those are some great and powerful words. And once you've released the guilt, the next step you say is accept what is. Can you explain that for us?
Yes, and accepting what is not about liking what is. We don't have to like what's happened as a result of the pandemic, but we're more powerful when we can accept what is and move on, so we can adapt and move forward. So how can we adapt? Well, one of the ways is to sit down right now and take a look at this new daily schedule that you have with the intention of simplifying. And this will look different for every family. So perhaps for you, simplifying might mean, who can I delegate some tasks to? Perhaps it means, how can I meal prep in advance? Or maybe it even means something as simple as buying 2 hampers so that you're not sorting laundry every day. You put the darks in this one and the lights in this one. So the whole goal is to look for ways to simplify, simplify, simplify as much as possible.
All right, Denise, next on the release list is perfectionism. This is a tough one for me. How do we release that?
Well, there's a very popular phrase that a lot of people have heard or likely said, and that is, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And I will admit, I would call myself a recovering perfectionist. And what I've discovered over the years is that sometimes if you want something done at all, you have to have someone else do it for you. Now, when I'm talking about releasing perfectionism, it doesn't mean being careless. Sometimes high standards can serve you well. Striving to do your best, as we just talked about, can serve you well. However, when you feel that no matter what you do, it's never good enough, or no matter what someone else does, that it's never good enough, or that you are never good enough, then those high standards are working against you. So in this case, your goal is to aim for progress, not perfection. And what you'll find is sometimes things aren't done the way you perhaps might have had them done, but things will get done, and progress makes you feel good.
All right, clearly I gave up on perfectionism a long time ago. And let me tell you, it is such a relief and a release. But once you do that, Denise, you say that you can now accept help. But why is that hard for some moms to do, to accept help?
Jeff, that's such a good question. Sometimes it's a matter of control. We don't want to release control. And sometimes it's a matter of self-worth. So we might think as moms, if I can't do it all myself, then maybe I'm not good enough. Or maybe we don't feel worthy or deserving of asking for that help. So let me tell all the moms out there, you are worthy, you are enough, and you can ask for help. And sometimes it can just be as simple as sitting down with your partner, if you have a partner at home that can help you, and being specific and straightforward with your requests. So sometimes we think, well, my spouse should see me working this hard. Can't they just automatically pitch in? Assume the best about your spouse and just assume that they don't realize what you're going through. Sit down and say, hey, listen, I need some help. And then get specific and let them know what your requests are. And listen, in all fairness, sometimes we're talking about a single mom who doesn't have someone at home to help. So in that case, ask yourself, do I have a friend or family member that I could ask for help? Or do I know any other single parents who'd be willing to brainstorm ideas on ways that we could help each other? Because we certainly need each other more than ever during this time.
You couldn't be more right. Denise, Marek, so great catching up. Thanks so much for this advice.
Thanks. Nice to see you both. Bye.